So, boys, we've made it to triple digits.
Well, 2 of us have. Actually, only me. The rest of you haven't.
It's come out of the blue, Ian.
Okay, all right, you're going to be like that,
we were at
Ian.
100.
Yeah.
There was no warning leading up to tonight. This is like caught us all off
According
guard.
to Coots, I'm about 100 anyway.
Oh. In Pokemon podcast years, Ian, you are.
Wait, have we started? Yeah, this is the show.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Hi, well, welcome.
Hi. Episode 100. Yeah.
Maybe that's why he doesn't understand. It's not technically his 100.
No, it's not his 100. I think Coots on about 90, isn't he?
No, I'm on 73. I think.
This is technically 98 for me, I think.
Oh my god.
In my defence, I'm reading the live chat because obviously we're on the live chat. We've got over 60 people in the house. I'm reading the comments. This is amazing, boys. Happy 100! Yay! Happy birthday!
Happy 100.
Woo!
We won 100.
Absolutely. And for the 100th time.
So I'm actually currently doing this live, so I don't know if this is going to be on time in the music, but if it's not, hi everyone, welcome to episode 100
You will do.
I forget you edit, of Incensed podcast. This is crazy. What's even more crazy, the fact I'm still here. I'm going to level with you.
Yeah, we wasn't expecting that.
There's been times where,
We need a round of applause for Coops.
Yeah, let's give him
This
a
is
round of
amazing
applause.
effort.
Yeah.
Well done. A real one.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Not one we nicked off Epidemic Sounds.
No, we didn't nick that one at all.
Definitely not.
And I'm
Definitely
going to
not.
repay the round of applause because you all deserve a round of applause for putting up with me, lads. You definitely deserve one for putting up with me.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're too kind.
But, gentlemen, that's not a joke. Episode 100. This is crazy, bro. This is like deep. This is crazy. Nearly 2 years ago, we were a little bit of writing on a little bit of paper. I think in Marky's house, was it? Marky?
Yeah,
bro?
it was.
On
Yeah,
Mark's
yeah.
desk,
It was, yes.
Yeah, it said Inception of Incensed.
Inception of Incense, yeah. I really should have brought it along with me tonight, boys.
He needed like the
Surprised it's not
Declaration of
framed on the
Independence.
wall, Mark.
It needs to be like framed for all of time.
Somewhere. It is somewhere.
He's looking for it. Listeners, he's looking for it.
Marky boy, why don't you take your poster down of JT Valor with the love heart and then put up?
Oh, says the boy.
Little picture of you two in Berlin.
Says Daxy's
I've moved my Daxy one. I've moved it. You can't see it. No.
So you've shuffled your Daxi shrine to the
Yeah.
left.
Listen, you can't.
haven't you?
I've hid it for tonight, so the live chat can't see. But yeah, everybody in the chat, we said this before the show, but I'll say it live on the show. Thank you all so much. We've still got over 70 people in the chat. You're all saying amazing things. This is lovely. I'm going to be hella distracted. But for the 100th time, drop down your incense.
Pop your incenses, champions. Let's go.
And you also will need your adventure sync on as well, because this one is definitely going to be longer than an hour and 15 minutes. Is that fair to say, Ian?
I think that's fair to say today. Yes, maybe. A little bit.
Stack the incense.
Stack
them.
Why not?
Clarify the spelling for me.
Really, bro? I was just about to get to it.
We've got to
Really?
do it
Cut
real like
me
we
off
normally
instead
would.
of him.
Yeah.
I forget all this is edited. It's usually this much of a shambles, isn't it? This bit. Well, anyway, don't forget to clarify the spelling.
And what is the spelling,
The
Coops?
spelling, bro. See, you throw me off, right? As you already know, while you're listening back to this episode on whatever podcast platform you choose. Obviously, if it is Spotify, make sure you rate us 5-star. But moving on swiftly from that, please do tag us on our social media using the hashtag Shinies of the Week. And I'm going to make Ian do the clarify spelling thing again. He's going to play it now.
Could you clarify that spelling?
Hashtag SHINIESOFTHEWEEK. Hashtag Shinies of the Week. So then that means we can get a hold and we can search up your tweets. If you do manage to get a shiny, a hundo, maybe a shundo Reshiram. Maybe you're as lucky as Milo with his shundos. But yeah, do tag us while
Or nothing at all.
Did someone tag us once and they were like, "I got nothing"? But,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah, they were like, I literally got nothing.
Fair enough.
It's the effort that counts, right?
Well, the 100th show of Incensed Podcast, and it's going to be something different,
Had
very,
to be,
very
didn't
different
it?
from the normal spiel. We're actually going to hand it over to the rural trainer himself to kick off how Incensed Moo, you bastards, came to be. It was Mark's idea with a little bit of paper, Inception of Incensed. Talk to us about the concept and why you said we should do a podcast, Marky.
I can't remember, Milo. It was a bad dream.
Okay,
Moving on.
Stella.
This is something that I've skirted over in the past, and we've top-lined it on previous episodes, and tonight is the opportunity to really go into the detail.
Can you go into detail as much as you go into detail when you talk about 1-star raids? Is that can we do that?
Coops is aiming for a sub 60-minute edition, boys, for the 100th episode. 'Cause if I do it with as much detail as 1-star raids, so yeah, we talked about it, we agreed to do it, and we started it. There we go. That's how that was the inception.
Nice.
So a little bit about us as creators. We all started our own content creating journeys, and me and Ian were very fortunate to cross paths in Dortmund in 2019. That was the first time me and Ian met each other there. Don't be jealous.
I'm not.
You weren't even a thought in our minds back then.
No.
Oh, mine's your mind, Mr. Lover Man, not Mark's
all right.
mine.
It's the court, Ian.
Well, Coops, we've got one each then, haven't we?
Yeah. We kept in contact ever since then. We met up and we did a couple of events together, didn't we, Ian?
We did a few, including a really dead community
Crashing
day.
drone com day.
Yeah, crashed a drone in Willen Lake.
We did Chimchar, didn't we, together?
Chimchar, yeah, it was a bit dead.
Chimchar brought the pandemic, didn't
We
it?
spent more time doing the team leaders, didn't we?
Did you just say Chimchar bought COVID? I'm dead. Oh my god.
Coops, believe it or not, used to create content.
Casual Coops YT.
YT.
4,000 years ago.
4,000 years ago. And Pokemon UK YT. I like that, UK YT. We kind of got chatting, didn't we, through our social medias? So I remember, like, we'd feature a bit in each other's vlogs through playing the game from afar, but we'd never met each other.
No, we only had it was like UK content creators.
That was it.
Twitter DM, didn't we?
Literally. Yeah, there was 5 of us on it, I think, at the time. Mark and I had met to do a few events together, as he said, and I think you and Coops had been doing Whooper Day together.
We met on Whooper Day.
Yeah, whoopie doo.
Great day.
Do, yes. Nice
Yeah,
one.
correct. Ding, ding, ding.
We were all sort of, not after Whooper Day, by the way, there's a little bit of time since then, but like the pandemic came around, and I think for anyone who watches content which is based around the pandemic, we were just trying to play a game remotely in the best way we could, and it was soulless, wasn't it, boys? It just felt so distant, didn't it?
Interesting, for sure, yeah.
And I was sort of spitballing a few ideas. The pandemic was almost like the breeding ground for podcasts. There was a saying I always heard, was you're never more than 10 feet away from a podcast during the pandemic. And I remember listening to loads
because it was the only thing that people could really do.
So many pods came out
You
of the pandemic.
And then platforms sprung up like the one we're using, Riverside.
That was it. And I looked at it and I just messaged you all, didn't I, in the group?
I think it was the end of January, early February, wasn't it? 2021.
It was.
It's like, you guys fancy
January.
doing a podcast? And we were all like, yep.
Mark had the idea, and he wrote on this little chat that we had, and we would send each other raids and whatever. When we first originally, Mark was like, do you boys want to do a podcast? From that message, I feel like it wasn't even a month until we had like our first
It was
recording.
2 weeks.
Like, yeah,
It was 2 weeks.
It was like
It was literally 2 weeks.
No, yeah, it was like, I remember one minute we were like, do you want to do a podcast? And the next I was on Amazon ordering a microphone. Like it was, and then the next we were on the chat talking about ideas and all that.
Once we said we're going to do it, we're like, I need to get a microphone. Do you know, I was like the same. I was going, I need to talk to a microphone for
I need all
laptop.
the tech. What do we do? I mean, it was literally about 6 days from your message. So when we all jumped on Zoom.
For the first time, yeah. The first time the four
Zoom,
of us
that was
Oh my
it.
God, Zoom!
to each other.
Zoom!
Yeah.
We use Zoom!
Zoom, remember
We
the
use
Zoom
Zoom.
days?
And it will literally be...
Zoom.
Wouldn't
Back
it?
when-
Yeah, it'll be...
Well, to be honest, I do still stitch words together,
Okay,
but it was
you-
a bit more
okay.
necessary.
Milo, we know.
It was necessary.
Let's look a bit more professional. Yeah, episode 100. This is about our journey. You don't do that. You don't.
Warts and all,
Yeah, you
okay.
don't do that. The edit's
This is
easy.
everything.
Yeah.
Zoom didn't help.
We'll talk about the edit later.
Yes, we'll get there.
Be nice, Ian. Be
But it
nice.
was quick. We had literally
Yeah.
had like 1 or 2 Zoom chats as a 4, and then we recorded show 1.
We recorded show 1 with no jingles whatsoever. They came later when we were
the
editing
jingles.
it down.
Guys, you got a good show today. You got the
Yeah, I've got a
jingles.
good
You got to
show.
talk about the jingles. Oh.
We used to meet, I think it was Mondays, wasn't it? When we,
Yes.
Originally.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we used to have a chat on a Monday about what we was going to do on the Thursday
Pre-production.
recording.
Yeah.
And that happened for the first 2 months, didn't it, almost?
It was sort of like the first 5-6 weeks
Yeah.
or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's so weird to look back and think.
Wasn't
you know,
it?
We felt we needed to have a pre-production meeting before doing a show.
But like the first time we all actually on that Zoom message, or that Zoom meeting, I should say, it was no different than to being on a global Google Meet meeting, you know, with people you've never seen before in the flesh. You might have communicated via email to them, but they're going to pop up on your screen. The only difference was none of us could get away with muting the mic or turning the camera off. The 4 of us were kind of randomly put in that room and we were communicating, and it was very instant, wasn't it? You know, we felt very much that it was going to work good.
I personally hadn't actually met, like, in real life, Ian or Mark.
Same.
And nor did Milo. And I know we mentioned about Whooper Day briefly, but like, we actually genuinely hadn't met. If you obviously enjoy the podcast, which you do, we've got over 200 ratings on Spotify now. Thanks, guys. Love you all. But it's only 4.9, so piss off.
We're still on 4.9.
Bastards.
But what's crazy is you think that the chemistry, and you'd think if you listen to the first 10 episodes, we'd all been friends for years. So when did we meet? Maybe I should have got this info before.
Oh god, the first meeting was a long time after. I think it was Tepid Conde.
Tepid Conde when we all met up at Mark's
technically
place.
all met
Yeah.
together in person.
So what episode are we talking about? We hadn't actually met, but we're producing this podcast and we're editing it. And
So
we're
podcast started in February,
June, July.
July.
So it would have been about
6
4
months.
months. Yeah.
It was about 5-6
Yeah, there
months.
you go,
Yeah.
guys. 5-6 months, and we still all officially hadn't met, and we'd already
July
produced,
the 3rd, 21.
Oh, there you
July
go.
the 3rd,
Yeah.
21.
The first episode came out on the 14th of February. So
Yeah, 14th of February. Yeah.
so it's like
Crazy.
4.5
Nuts.
months.
That was it. But people had been isolated from people for like 4 or 5 months. Life was very different, wasn't it? You know, when you all showed up in my little village, it was just like we'd forgotten about all that, hadn't we? You all crashed at mine. Felt like a real men behaving badly moment. This small
Yes.
little rural house. You know, it's lovely to look back at all that and see where we are today.
Yeah.
Do you know what's even crazier about all of this? Is how many getting to know you sections we've done.
Just tell me about you, mate. Just what's going on?
Thanks, Zoe, by the way. Back to me.
She didn't swear, did you notice?
Yes, I did know. Legit new year, new us.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take the dub on this one because, boys, if I'm correct, not to take all the credit, but the getting to know you section was actually Casual Coops' idea. Is that correct?
It actually was.
It was.
Yes.
It
It
was
was?
because you hosted the first ever show.
And
But it wasn't always called
It wasn't called Getting to Know You.
We didn't give it a title for ages.
I think on the
don't
first
think.
show notes that Coops out was something like fact finding or something.
I looked at my first
no,
show notes
was
for
it
the
a-
week after.
what-
It was called like fact finding or like asking each other questions. Some really terrible.
Obviously
segment name.
Googled something, didn't they? Like, what?
excuse me, what do you mean? Obviously. Yeah, no, I did.
Obviously.
But yeah, so it was kind of like, so the getting to know you section for me, I would say go listen back to the first episode. Please don't. Please don't. But on the first episode, I said to the boys, I
There's
said,
better content.
Yeah, I sort of said, gents, I said, look, I said, like, obviously from my background, I've done the singing, dancing, acting, musical theatre, so I feel confident enough if you guys are comfortable with me sort of taking the reins on the first show. And they were like, Coops, do you think? When I was preparing the show notes and we spoke about things that we wanted to speak about.
Before you go to Coops, Newcombs has just said in the chat, I don't know whether to be impressed or disappointed that Coops isn't in a bathrobe.
Yeah, what was the last thing to come out my mouth before JB distracted me?
That I don't know.
And as I was writing out the show notes, I kind of felt like it would be weird to sort of like jump in the show and start talking about Pokemon Go, because if it's fair to say, me and the boys, weirdly, we joke about it a lot, but we never wanted the podcast to actually be about Pokemon Go. Like, I know that sounds weird, but we didn't want to be one of these Pokemon Go podcasts out there that just sort of spoke about Pokemon Go. We wanted to talk about, you know, my love life and, you know, we
Top priority.
Top priority, Coops love life, nothing else.
Coops love life, everything else. That was it, wasn't it?
And Pokemon Go at the bottom.
yeah.
But I know what you mean. I know exactly. We did that thing of like we said, the podcast is its own entity, it's its own thing. That's
Yeah.
why we don't really talk about our own individual content that
Yeah,
we do.
yeah.
And it was about sort of our British humour and all of that and having a laugh together.
Yeah, so it kind of, we wanted the Pokemon Go, but we also wanted to capture the audience because obviously at the time we was all creating content. You know, we had our own little following and we kind of wanted to bring all of that together. And to be honest, we've achieved exactly that, to produce a really beautiful and amazing, loyal, I hate the word fan base, but some really amazing people that support us.
Supporters.
Yeah, so yeah,
Supporters.
Supporters. We like that. We can love supporters.
Put under the football,
Yeah.
but I won't mention that. So going from that angle, I was like, we need like a section to literally get to know each other. And obviously, as Milo said, it obviously started out something cringy from me, like fact finding with friends or something cringe as.
I think it was.
yeah.
Nice.
I think it actually was.
So something
worse,
like that. So something like that, and we basically got into it, and then, you know, we'd have the first sort of 10, 20 episodes, we'd produce these amazing questions, then you get to sort of week, 40, 50, and you get to Google, and you're Googling the top 10 best questions to ask your friends.
Icebreakers.
And, week 70, and if you're like me, you ask, your
You
girlfriend
outsource
or your
the
mum.
last 5 questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to level with you all. The next 100 are going to be really difficult to come up
That's
with.
the thing, though,
with
is that
questions.
it's getting to know you actually began because we genuinely didn't know each
Absolutely.
other
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
really. So it was a way of finding out about each other as we recorded the show, which is where like
And
questions about what's
getting
your
to know each
worst fear and all of that popped
And
up.
I'll pass this just to sort of end off from me. The boys would add in things, sections of the getting to know you, but like never have I ever, who's most likely to, and would you rather. And then, of course, the latest thing was the listener questions, which was, in my opinion, the best thing we've ever done.
absolutely.
Because
Yes.
the thing is, what we love about our little podcast, Incensed Family, is that you guys make us laugh, like for real. Some of the...
Endless creativity.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say stuff. I'm not going to swear, but some of the stuff that you guys say is hilarious, and we love it. And when you ask random questions, it's great. So, like I said, getting to know you has sort of gone from just one question into all different sort of sections. And like I said, I'm sure with our creativity boys, it will evolve into sort of something else.
Yeah, I have to give a little shout out. Mark, he did bring in Room 101
Yes.
as well.
As well.
Since
Twice,
next
I
week's
think, yes.
101 episode, could it come
Shush you.
back?
Ooh.
Not that we've talked about that already.
Haven't we pre-recorded it? No, I'm playing.
That could happen.
Little. But typically, from getting to know you, we then jump into something that Coops absolutely adores, a good old game.
I'll tell you what, boys. Each pick a game jingle, and we'll all do it at the same time. You ready? Each pick a jingle. 3, 2, 1.
One.
Chasing the tail.
Flex
Chasing the tail.
You got to sing it.
To chasing the tail.
I don't sing jingles. You know that.
Mine doesn't need to be sung.
What the ducklet?
Exactly.
Okay, I'll pick name that Pokemon then, because I don't have to sing that
Oh,
one.
here he goes.
Oh.
There
Oh,
he
you don't
goes.
even have a jingle like vocals on that one, Ian.
I've got one.
Goodness sake.
Sneak it in.
Yeah. Yes.
How many times have you played that? Sorry.
Sneak It In, I think we played 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Literally only
episode
about 4
67,
times.
episode 82, episode 86,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Episode 69.
Whenever Home Slice Henry was on.
Yeah.
It's more than the what's that game we? Sorry, no, sorry, Milo. Sorry, I'm
You
getting
pitch, we
distracted.
bitch.
But the
It's gone.
games
Dead.
actually they became a necessity almost, wasn't it? Because we needed some way. Was it when JT Valor was first on?
I did the
I'm trying to think
impromptu
back to like
play your
episode
decks
8
right. Not play your decks right. It was play your cards right, wasn't it? We did that.
Flex game.
Did Flex game? Yeah.
Yeah, the Flex game was brought in. I don't know whether it was to like get to talk about Pokemon Go in some way, but we started comparing what we got
That
at a
was
certain
it.
thing, and everyone got really mad that I was winning all the time.
You win everything all the time. I think
Yeah.
you win every game all the time.
Apart from one time, which may appear later in the show.
Yeah, you got triggered
But-
then, man.
I have to say, when we were going back through looking at what games were created when, there's a long break. Like, we did Flex Game for months and months
did.
before the next game that came along, which was Name That Pokemon, which I think was Ian's
That was
creation.
my creation. Purely because, as we know, that Pokemon aren't called the same names all around the world. So if you live in Germany, if you live in France, if you live in Japan, to name but a few, they have different and unique names, which none of us know.
Apart from Ian, who looks them up.
I don't know them. I Google them.
Indeed. After the Name That Pokemon, next up was a collaborative effort with the pub quiz. I can't remember when that was properly introduced. I don't know whether it was for the first segmented show or whether we literally had a dead week.
We had a
needed
dead
filler.
week. Misty, but I remember that we had a dead week. It was my show, and I'd asked Mark to write a pub quiz, and then Mark ran with the format.
Thank you, Herb. Pub quiz is absolute gold. I like that. Very nice. Sorry, I had to jump in there. Pub quiz is absolute gold.
No, it isn't. I think
is a
you've done
jolly good
every pub
segment.
quiz with the exception of 3. Coops has done 1, and I've done 2.
A pub quiz is great, isn't it? Because as we've proven, and we'll
It's
talk about it
good.
further on later on in the show, it does test everyone's intelligence, doesn't it? And so we've had some fun with that.
It doesn't. It's,
Or
it's-
lack of.
It doesn't. It's great for episodes that we don't pre-record.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's really, really good to bring in when we need something that's quite
Bulky,
a filler in the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
Something bulky, and then we could literally just say, Mark, we need 10 questions, or if it's Christmas, 12.
Yeah.
Or next year, maybe he'll do the advent calendar pub quiz and we'll have 25.
25. Oh my god.
Did one on the Space Needle, didn't we, Ian? There's been
And
a
Milo, you got
We did
4
one on the Space
points.
Needle. We did. Diameters.
But we ran with pub
Diameters.
quiz and those 3 games.
Russell, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
But the length of time between us creating a new game is actually astonishing, because after the pub quiz, it was honestly about 25, 30 weeks or something stupid before Chasing the Tail
Bro, was
was
it
made.
really?
Was it?
Yeah.
It was a long time.
And this is mad. We're sitting on episode 100, obviously. Chasing the Tail was put together and brought in, I think, on episode 54.
No way.
Just
Jeez.
after 1 year. And Chasing the Tail was something that I brought in a random production meeting and just sort of said, like, why don't we try a word association game? Odd suggestion from a dyslexic, but no matter.
No, wait, hold on.
And we ran with that.
Clarify the spelling, Miley?
No, I thought, didn't I?
I think I brought the context of what we could do with it.
Because I
you
little video voice notes.
That was funny.
So
you did the jingle.
Did the jingle
That's
on
it,
with
for
the
sure.
notes,
So I'm going to let everyone know. Obviously, I'm going to level with your boys. I think Chasing the Tail was a fan favourite. Please do let us know in the live chat right now.
Yeah.
It's the best
Everyone's
game.
asking us to do it now.
Are they actually? Are they? You don't want to see that live. Chat, you do not want to see Chasing the Tail
Not
live. Trust
Not
me.
live.
Trust me. I'll sue. You do not want to see it. What I will say is, whenever we think of a game or like a new thingy, the boys will back me up. I'm straight in. I'm like, what's the jingle? I'm like a jingle addict. I'm like, what?
You really are.
And I get really
All the
upset when the
vocals.
boys are like, we don't want a jingle for this, Coops. I get really like agitated. I'm like, no. So what I do,
Or we'll make a
is
jingle and you insist on singing over it.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
he does. He
But the
does.
Chasing the Tail one's hysterical.
So
it's so
I'm
good.
actually. Are we playing it?
It's chasing the tail.
When I have a little creative thing and I'll be out, I get my phone like this, recording myself on like a video and trying to explain what type of like jingle that I want for the game. And I send it in the group chat. Boys, maybe should we post one day on Twitter for a laugh?
Can do.
Could do,
Yeah.
We'll try and pick one without me swearing though, but it's
Wearing
basically
dressing
like
gown.
just so you can see where my jingle came from Chasing the Tail. And I think originally it was called, what was it called? My idea, well, I can't remember.
Oh my God.
Didn't
No,
I do
it's
that
the-
animated
it's the
laugh?
thing.
And I
Yeah,
had that
you
laugh.
did.
It was like,
It's like nearly 50 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
you did. You went
Not gonna remember
it was
it.
like really weird, Coops. It was like,
Yeah.
you're doing that. And I was like, what the hell is he on? Me, Ian and Milo, we would occasionally message in the group. So we have a group chat. Coops would start like post these videos like random times at night. And I remember like there's one week, I think it was one work day. It was like a Tuesday.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. And I thought,
Hear me out.
and in the end, I think we all did it just to play off each other, but we all ended up doing video messages in the group. And like, there's me and my work gear,
Oh, we
Milo,
did, yes.
and Ian in his high fist
Yeah.
like me go, well, you've all done one, I might as well do one now.
You two were at work and I was editing, I think, at the time. Yeah.
Everyone was just like,
Oh,
it was
my
just like,
goodness.
hello, yeah, so I've got this, it was just jokes. It was jokes.
And I think it's fair to say Chasing the Tail quite quickly became our most popular game, as we can see in the chat.
Everyone loves it, but we're moving from our most popular game to one that died a very fiery
I
death.
think it was dead on
after
arrival,
1
wasn't
week.
it?
It was so bad. I think I only brought it in as a suggestion of like, because things were bad in the game at the time.
It's that bad I actually deleted the jingle.
Well, we haven't played it in like 40 weeks. We called it You Pitch, We Bitch. And I think it was
like
just
a
a silly
riff off of, like,
suggestion.
Dragon's
And we
Den,
didn't,
wasn't it, Shark Tank?
Yeah, we didn't even know where it was going to go.
no, Milo, don't say we. This was all you.
This was on
is
you.
all on
You're owning
This
this
is-
one.
No, well, I presented something to you, and then you guys just ran with the Dragon's Den style pitch, which it wasn't actually meant to
Well, I
be.
remember listening back to that, obviously, a long time. And I remember listening to this and thinking, the listeners right now must be thinking, what the F is going on here?
Yeah.
But, you know, we take the L. We
It's a creative
proudly hold
process.
the L.
Yeah.
You just put it there, and it flopped, which is all good.
I love how the chat are playing Chasing the Tail. Sorry. We're like talking about this,
know,
and then
I
they play
know,
Chasing the
that's
game in
That's
the chat.
hysterical.
That's brilliant.
I love that. But it was a fair while to create another game, which was Sneak It In, Coops, which was solely your creation.
Yeah, you're owning that one as well, Coops.
Oh no.
Sneak it in!
It's so loud.
So loud. He said, "Can you put my volume lower?" Didn't you? Ian?
know
And you went
what?
the other way on it. Brilliant. That was. You went, "Give it lower, lower." And he's like,
That is actually
Oh my God,
lowest
was
to
this-
the original one.
Wait. This was the episode where because you hate PvP, you intentionally put the volume so high on the game's debut to make all the listeners be like, oh, you did that on purpose. Can you admit that?
No.
No?
no.
Say though, Kitty in the chat, say with a name like that, why am I not surprised it was Coops? Lol.
Yeah.
Sneak it in.
Never snuck it.
Quality.
Okay, fine.
Never snuck it.
Let's move on. We hate PvP.
Well, we're going to move on
and-
to an even worse game. Hang on. The most recent edition. What's the backlet?
There's a pattern here.
Which I think gets more flack than
It
it
does
deserves.
get more flat than it deserves.
We did some research before presenting episode 100 to you. thank God we've got a stack of games, because now we can keep things fresh without even really thinking about it on various episodes. Whereas like the first 30 episodes, it was flex game, flex game, flex game, flex game every week. But they're a good laugh, and I think, to be honest, Chasing the Tail, clear runaway winner in terms of creativity and stuff, and people love it. Which...
Great idea, Ian. Great idea, Ian, that game. Well done, mate.
What the Knuckles Milos?
Yes,
I wanted that to be an informational piece of my life. No, we'll make it to a game. But that's not to say there won't be new games coming, but we just need to come up with some ideas.
Trial and test on some more episodes.
Yeah.
I've actually got an idea for a game, but it's about GBL. Is that okay?
That's even worse than Sneak It In.
Torture.
Don't call me Coops. Don't tell me Coops. It's called Sneak It In.
Sneak It In. Deluxe edition.
Competitive.
Competitive
Sneak It In.
Because we were so good at the first one, apparently.
Exactly.
Brilliant, yes.
Sneak It In 2, I'm actually crying. Sneak It In 2 is just like the most random Pokemon ever. Oh my god.
Yeah, so in terms of the games, we have quite a good arsenal of games there, which, to be fair, we don't really exploit to its fullest potential. But when we create a show, we take it in turns, which you probably know if you've listened to this podcast for a while. So generally we'll go in the order that Coops will do a show, then Milo, then me, then Mark, and then we'll throw a guest episode in, then we'll start the cycle all over again. We all work through a similar process when we create the show. So we'll start with any new sections, and we'll generally smack them sort of in the middle of the show. We'll throw a getting to know you question in, and then we'll work games and other bits around that, always finishing with everyone's favourite section, which is Shinies of the Week. We all create the shows pretty much in the same way, but I'm sure we all have different processes. So I'll talk about how I do it, and then you guys can say whether it's similar, different, or how you do it. Coops, you can talk about the 5 minutes before the show when you type them out on a Thursday
or
evening.
who you talk to about getting to know you.
So I'll generally start with the news, put that in the middle of my show notes, come up with some sort of getting to know you in some iteration, and then if there's a new raid boss, we'll throw a Counter Brothers in, and then a game, maybe a discussion. The hardest part, I think, coming up with some sort of funny intro can be the most difficult thing, because there's only so many funny things we can actually say about each other. So it's quite a formulaic show. You know what, sometimes we'll swap and change with the format, but it's generally very structured. So we'll start with the intro, the bit of banter, getting to know you, a game, the news, a discussion, and then end with Shinies of the Week. So, guys, how do you get your show notes together?
I personally have a set template. For the first time writing it was very, very difficult to do it. But as the podcast evolved and we got into that cycle and we were adding new bits, and we have that creative license to sort of pick bits we want to put into the show, it creates the structure. And I've always found that the only things now that kind of alternate on it are maybe the game, because all the other bits kind of now happen every week. But I did sort of throw a few panics out there, didn't I, Ian, when I changed the order of getting to know you, didn't I, around at the very beginning? That freaked a few people out, didn't it?
It completely threw us off kilter. It really did when you put it somewhere in the middle of the show. It's like, what?
Freaked out.
We all have our own creative ways. When we're doing something, we have to be mindful for the four of us together. They've got to be on point, haven't they, boys, when we get them out? Because we do rely on them. The challenge for us is, how do we keep it fresher for the next 100 episodes?
The show notes are crucial to us, because for Milo and I in the edit, they are a godsend when we actually, if we record things or move things around. So the show notes are very important to us.
It becomes much easier to read the show, as it were, from a post-production standpoint, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But show notes, I agree with Marky. Like back in the day when we were beginning the podcast and all of that, it was a lot harder because it was still finding our feet in terms of the format and the structure and what we wanted to do, and having a section called fact-finding. But it wasn't that long until we found, like, okay, we know we've got an intro. The intros have evolved over time to be various different things, and we all have our own format of how we do them. There's the incense drop, all of that jazz, the getting to know you section, which, depending on if you can actually think of a question, search for a question, ask your missus or your friend who you're staying with in America, in case of Coops, or if you want to bring back one of the kind of like listener questions or something else, you know the drill. I think the most tricky thing is when you're sitting there praying that the news drops in time.
Which which happens frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we get news, as we're recording, literally an hour into the recording. Here's a new post. Right, okay, we've got to work this in somehow. Before that, you're thinking, how on earth do we fill an hour's worth of material if there's nothing to cover? We'll maybe have an event discussion. Bish Bash Bosh, back in the day, we used to have kind of big segmented kind of discussions about aspects of the game, whether it was about Team Rocket as a concept as a whole, or whether it was like chat about spoofing and all
That
that
was
kind
more
of jazz.
generic, wasn't it?
It was sort of like, well, it was when we were still kind of like fresh to the game, but now we kind of openly just have random discussions at will. It's a bit more loose, and I think we're more comfortable in having a free discussion as we go through because we know how we talk and how we interact.
It's funny you say that, Milo, because originally when we started, we always wanted to have like this main chat and this main discussion, and sometimes they drop so much news and we didn't want to, we always tried to keep it about an hour and 5-10. If you look at all of our shows, some are longer, some are shorter, but that's kind of what we always sort of
There's
really
an
wanted.
average,
We
right.
kind of wanted that. Yeah, we kind of wanted that 5 minutes intro and then that hour incense. That was kind of like the structure we've always stuck with. Very proud of that. As time's gone on and the chats have gone more from being like prompted chats, if I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of bullet points, didn't we? Yeah.
Clear cuts. There.
It was kind of like we do this, and all jokes aside, genuinely I know we banter all the time. The shows are never ever scripted. No part of the show, apart from the intros, are scripted. That
and
is
who's
the only
doing
part.
what?
Yeah.
That's literally it.
That is it. So obviously they went from these sort of prompted discussions every sort of week towards the end of the show to sort of just happening naturally. And then sometimes we'd have them earlier on, or sometimes we, as we've got a lot closer, as like a group and as like a podcast, all of that just becomes natural and not so much prompted. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to add that in as well.
You're 100% right. I say our gold tier Patreon members get to experience us having midway production meetings of like, oh, the news has dropped, who's doing what bit? Shall we just run with this? Let's see, hand it over to you and all of that. So it's reasonably comfortable, I would say. But we know at a base level, there's this section, there's intro, get to know you. We're definitely having Shinies of the Week. Mark's polls usually featured, now related to getting to know you more often than not. So there are sections that stay there, and it's just a case of dishing them out so everyone has kind of an equal opportunity to talk or lead a section, as it were. So show notes are kind of, they're key to knowing who's going to do what.
Bro, they are like, and even though I do send them out an hour before the show, they are very important.
You've been better of late.
Thank
You
you.
have. You've been getting them out on a
Good man.
Wednesday just lately. That's been really good. Yeah.
I thought you were going to be horrible then and say you've got them out before 5 now on a Thursday.
Wednesday, 23:59.
Wednesday works, doesn't it? Wednesday was the agreement. So,
Yeah. Can I just say, by the way, when we're live recording, we've had a few arguments, haven't we, and a few rows, and the patrons get to see that as well.
Gone to town with each other. Yeah.
But as well as the arguments, obviously we've got friendships within the podcast. We have
Oh, you soppy bastard.
we have Ian and Milo, and we do obviously have me and Marky Boy. Hence the Counter Cousins and the Counter Brothers. Obviously this was originally just the Counter Bros, then it went to the Counter Cousins because, why not? We just kind of wanted to do something different, and I understand we are just sort of saying, oh yeah, use this raid boss, but then when you add in 2 people and you're going back and forth like the Chuckle Brothers, having a bit of banter, sort of at the end of the day it's a game, sort of taking the mick, saying that, oh, you can use you can use a really bad attacker, let's
You
just
throwing
say
Frenzy Plant on any sodding mon.
we
choose.
we kind of wanted that type of element, and then obviously when you added me and Mark and the Counter Cousins, and we have like sometimes when there's 2 raid bosses and we kind of have a competition, we just think that it really just sort of changes it up and it spices it up. And the same with the news, we didn't just kind of want to read it like an infographic thing, and that's no dig on anything, that's just us as like that English banter. We just kind of wanted, hence where the one, Marky and the 1-star raids comes from, the mega connoisseur when it comes to the news. You've got me when I mentioned the stuff that can't be shiny on the wild spawns. You've got Milo when he talks about the 5-star raid bosses and they're rubbish for 6 months and he's moaning every time.
Yeah.
It's
Always.
kind of like, and Ian just being positive all the time.
Try.
Damn you, Ian. Damn
It
you.
could be worse.
It could be worse.
Yeah, we really hope that that's portrayed to the audience, that English, that fun, that in-betweeners, sort of not the American version, but that sort of banter that we really wanted to
Correct
portray.
version.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it is just a game and you've got to have fun with it and have a laugh and have banter with people, because that's,
you're
we always
right.
talk about these live events and being with people and going out for dinner, going out for drinks, going, to watch trainer tips that are doing a DJ set. That's what it's about, right? That really is at the end of the day what it's about. So
It's
yeah,
the
that's
community
kind of-
aspect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is. Yeah, you're right with that, because also another factor is that there are 4 of us. I think back in the day we did used to have somebody do the news. It was their section.
I did.
They read
Somebody
the whole
did
thing,
the news, somebody did China's the Week.
and
Everyone
we
just
quickly
did a
discovered
section.
that actually not only during recording but also listening back, and you go, there's 3 other people on the call who occasionally jump in, make one comment or have a laugh, and that's it. It's like, why not bring everyone in? And I think now the way we do news, or we do the Counter Brothers / Cousins, is just a different style, each with our own individual agenda on what we care about or what we don't care about.
Yeah, like Mark loves a 1-star rating.
Exactly, is unique.
Yeah. The thing is, though, some of these sections could be so basic. There's a few people mentioning in the chat, who are the cousins, who are the brothers and all that. Well, it could have been very easy just to have gone, like we said, Raid Boss, bum, 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 bum. But I love our cheekiness to it and our creative elements where we'll pull out Pokemon that no one's ever going to use for them, but we do it. And like me and Coops just go down the bar and go, it's lightning bolt energy. It's like flipping nut energy, you know?
It's like frost type or whatever it is you say.
We love the positivity. We love the comments. We love how people can relate to it. We love that. I love the fact that we can do something and everyone's going, oh my God, guys, that's so different. We're not putting any show on. This is just us.
Yeah.
We like to please.
So we got to do some. We got to do some real news then. Is that what we're saying next? Is that
It is. It's the news.
to play that jingle?
So I'm really sorry. Someone
Hang on.
Is the news.
No, wait. Someone in the chat has just said, get Daxi on to do the counter boyfriends. Do you know what?
That's
Do you know what?
genius.
I'm going to ask him one day. I'm actually going to ask him. I need to reply to him anyway. I'm going to message him right now and I'm going to ask him, can he come on?
Well, as Coops is texting his boyfriend, and he'll be texting him because they have that relationship now.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
So I jump into the news, boys. Trainers, we've got Community Day Classic again. Saturday, January the 21st, 23. And they love that 2 to 5 p.m. time slot. They've done it again. But Larvitar will be appearing for 3 hours on its own Community Day Classic. Evolve Pupitar during the event for up to 2 hours afterwards. It will get a Tyranitar that knows a fast attack, Smackdown.
Nice.
Event bonus is, it's nice, isn't it? Event bonus is nice. It's 3 times XP for catching Pokemon. Learn modules activated during the event will last for 3 hours. And Incense, excluding Daily Adventure Incense, activated during the event will last for 3 hours. Take a few snapshots. It's 5 snapshots, unless it's Snorlax when it's 1.
And it's not a mystery.
And it's definitely not a mystery. And if you're looking for somewhere to play, well, there's a lovely handy link there with all the parks around the world.
Nice.
So what do we think, boys? Larvitar Com Day?
I think we've wanted this to happen. People have been asking for a Larvitar Com Day Classic. As Larvitar and Beldum were like the 2 kind of optimal picks. And I think it's a stellar job to choose.
Machop, I'm still desperate for a Machop.
Wait another 2 years, mate.
Yeah, Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur with Hydro Cannon 2024.
Oh, bring it on. Bring it on.
Mega Bulbasaur.
Could you imagine one day you can unlock a 3rd charge move, and I actually on Bulbasaur put Frenzy Plant, Hydro Cannon and
Blast Burn.
Jokes.
People in GBL wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, I'll max it to level 50. But no, all banter aside, no, listen, I'm with Milo. Very happy. I think this is a huge dub. This obviously gives you the XL grind for the obvious Mega Tyranitar, which I think I said in the last episode I wanted.
You said you wanted it to come out in 2023.
Yes,
yeah.
Listen back to the episode.
The only thing you want apparently this year.
And you, Ian.
Yes.
You
It's
can't
Valentine's, mate.
Did you
Milo's like,
you can't have him.
You can't have him.
Milo's stay up there.
Sorry, Coops, I'll be in
salty
America
bitch.
with Milo in February.
Okay. Cheating on me, I see. I'm used
Cheating
to
on
people
me, you
leaving.
You can
bugger.
have Mark.
I'm the one that's getting left out here. What's that about, boys? Jesus.
Hang on, Coops is married to Daxi.
Yeah.
It's
Jokes aside.
like a love hexagon going
Yeah, I
on
know,
here.
right? Yeah. Oh, add JT Valor in. It's like an is it an octagon? No, what's it?
Octillery.
I don't think Mark would ever share JT.
No, yeah, true.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Oh, sorry, I forgot Lachlan. Lachlan's thrown into the mix as well. So
Guys, there's a
Oh yeah, hubby Milo, yeah.
it's a cluster, what.
there's a lot
Don't
going
forget
on here.
Jamal Coops for you. This is going to get messy.
Oh, Jamal, yeah, Jamal, yes. I'm coming on the podcast soon, I
You
promise.
got a
I'm
verbal
coming on.
contract locked in.
Verbal
Yeah,
contract.
we're not cutting that
So
out.
basically what I'm trying to say is I'm like Milo, I want to get like 1000 XL candy. I want to get that Mega ready, which would be, I know it's not going to drop. It would be awesome for Mega T-Tar to drop on Community Day. We know it's not going to drop.
Not
for
gonna
another-
happen.
Yeah, okay, I said that. I know. Stop destroying my dreams. But yeah, sorry.
Great
just to
White
wrap-
Shark.
Yeah, just to wrap it up,
hopes and
very
dreams.
excited. Yeah, Larvitar's definitely a fan favourite.
Ian, do you care at all?
I'll just keep it quite succinct. I'm happy.
You're content.
Content night.
The great white shark is okay.
No, I'm happy. I've got no need to be great white sharky for this one. Everyone loves a Tyranitar. As Milo's pointed out previously, it's a little bit dead in terms of the meta these days, but it's still a great Pokemon.
But boys, good news.
What?
The Twinkling Fantasy Event has been announced, and it's looking absolutely insane. To remember the Luminous Legends X event, 2 weeks back in May of 2021, that featured dragon and fairy types. This is very much a 6 or 7 day same sort of event. So you can surround yourself in a circle of fairy type Dedenne, battle with the dragon Pokemon Mega Salamence in the Twinkling Fantasy event, which is awesome. So Mega Salamence, Mega Connoisseur, are you happy with this?
I approve this Mega, Milo.
Excellent.
I approve it.
So this is where it gets a little bit confusing. We did actually see that Niantic Support tweeted out clarifying this. So the event actually starts at 8 a.m. on January the 10th, which is the Tuesday, but Mega Salamence and the level 5 that will switch over at 10 a.m. So the event begins 2 hours prior to the raid bosses arriving.
What?
Why is a good question, because every event for like the last 3-4 years has begun at 10 a.m. pretty much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, it will end at 10 p.m. They've increased the length of time, it's fine, but January the 16th, 10 p.m. your local time is when the event ends. Mega Salamence drop in, so Salamence will be able to be shiny from these raids and shiny potential in the wild as well, if you're lucky enough to find one as a wild spawn. And there are some solid event bonuses as a smattering of XP and added candy, so 2 times XP for successfully catching Pokemon with nice, great, and excellent throws, additional candy for achieving nice, great, and excellent throws, and an increased chance of Candy XL for level 31 and up trainers. Nice throws, great throws, and excellent throws. Basically, hit your throw bonuses, you get boosted stuff.
And in terms of the wild encounters, there are some fairly decent ones, so we'll cover those now. So if you are playing this event, you will be able to find in the wild Clefairy.
Clefable. They can't be shiny.
I was about to say, are we doing like the shinies and... Okay, I see what we're doing. Okay. It's me, Jigglypuff.
One that I'm grateful that's there, because I haven't done my Dratini Conde event yet, is Dratini.
Maril. I'm leaving the other one for Milo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Just
my
so we
bae.
can get excited, yes.
It's my bae. It's Togetic with the shiny.
Milo. Oh,
Togetic.
Milo. Oh,
Oh my god.
Guaranteed XL on Kachu.
Someone get him a tissue. Oh, it's his wet dream. Oh.
I need a few tissues.
Rolls.
I've got the most uninspiring one, Vibrava or Vibrava. Joy.
I've got a relatively decent one, which is Bagon.
Got Coops' favourite Pokemon from 2022 is Dino.
And funnily, this has ended on me, so I'm going to practice my... As if this
Not that it was planned.
No, it's actually genuinely.
really didn't plan
This is
it.
what normally happens. But no, the Pokemon which you can get, which can be shiny, right, I'm a bit stressed, here we go, is Dedenne.
Yeah, I think
Close
that's
enough,
right.
yeah.
And it can be
Gorgeous
shiny.
little chocolate shiny, yeah.
It's the new shiny. It
is
becomes
shiny.
a chocolate mouse.
And if you're lucky, you might encounter the following: Goomy and Noibat out in the wild.
Hey,
Oh, God.
Noibat in the wild is good.
Yeah.
That is definitely good.
Say cheese. Smile. you might have a surprise encounter with a dragon or fairy type Pokemon. Listen, no one cares about that, but what we do care about, there's going to be, boys, drum roll in the edit, please. A collection challenge. Complete the Twinkling Fantasy Collection Challenge to receive 50 Salamence Mega Energy, a Charge TM, and a Fast TM.
Which will be thrown away immediately. Moving on. The field research encounters. 4 of them to pick from. We don't know the tasks yet. Obviously, we'll have to find out at the time. Probably from APAC. Thanks, peeps. Clefairy, Dratini, Bagon, and Dedenne, obviously, new shiny. And if you're very lucky, you can get a non-shiny Goomy in research.
Sick. That's sick though. Go for
If
the
you're
hundo,
not
innit? Go
lucky.
for the
If you're
hundo.
not lucky. And speaking of if you're not lucky, I think Mark should cover this next part.
Mr. 1-star raid.
You know I love it. You know I love it.
Best to last.
So 1-star raids. These are obviously my favourite raids in Pokemon Go, and I'll be sending these out to everybody and jumping out of them.
Hey, they could all be shiny though, mate.
They can. They
Look at
can.
the positive.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at some of the positives here. Flipping it. Shiny, potentially Jigglypuff, which can also be in the wild as part of the event. chap. So if you're not finding them in the wild, raid for them because they're
I think it's
amazing.
the key thing to say that Mark will take every Jigglypuff raid you can send him.
He will.
Every single
Yeah.
one you can send me.
Actually, now I think Mark wants to do Morel, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest with everyone. Marill is a rarer spawn, which can also be in the wild for this event. But Marill, that can be shiny, is a 1-starer.
I'm crying. I'm actually crying. You know,
I'll send you a tissue note.
Listen. Yeah, as long as it's not the ones you use for Togetic.
I can't promise anything.
Just peel them apart, Coops.
Sorry, mate. Carry on. Oh my
So
god.
we've got Dino, which is also in the wild, which can be shiny. However, on a positive note, there's Axew. Axew's in there in 1-star raids, can be shiny.
Anyway, moving on. The 3-star raids are a little bit better.
Just
Not a lot. Just a little bit better. And again, can all be shiny. And in the 3-star raids, you can get Marwal, Drudigon, and Coops' favourite Dedenne.
Sorry.
So
Can we pull a Mark here?
Okay, wait.
Dedenne is a 3-star raid, but it's in the wild.
They've done this before,
Sorry,
though. We
what?
know how it works.
Anyway, moving on
Yeah,
to some
yeah.
fire, or rather electric dragon. Zekrom is making its
Zeki.
return at 10 a.m. on the January the 10th, your local time, and alongside that, Mega Salamence. So actually, everything in the raids has a shiny potential for once.
Definitely good luck with your Marills and Jigglypuffs. But moving on to the featured attack, a little bit like Reshiram. Zekrom, you're going to get the electric type move Fusion Bolt. Now for trainer battles, this is going to be 90 power, and from gyms and raids, it's going to be up to 140 power.
That's a literally lit 5 or
is a
7 days, actually.
Pretty decent
really.
event, yeah.
It's a really good event.
So we say GG's Niantic. That's a good event.
Yeah, GG's. Let's say thank you. That's going to be a good starting off 2023 in style.
GG's. Well, I think on the note of GG's, we've got something a little bit special for you. Yes, welcome everybody to the Incensed Podcast Awards for episode 100 of 2023, held here in front of whoever's bothered to turn up. This is going to be looking back through the show's history and pulling something out of our arse. Anyway, as you may have seen on our socials, we put up a series of polls of questions of asking, what do you think about XYZ? I'll kick off the proceedings with the Best Britain Abroad Award. This is a nod to episode 66. This is for who pronounced Seville, the worst. So, the nominations are Coops with this. Milo with this. Severe. That was quiet. I had COVID there at that time. Ian with this.
Sevilla.
And finally, Muscle27 with.
Seville. They haven't listened to the clip. That's brilliant. That's awful. Oh dear.
The winner, as decided by our listeners, is Coops.
For God's sake.
I have to say, it was a very good effort from both you and Mark.
The chat are loving my version actually more than yours, Coops. Come on, chat, vote next year.
I vote for
Episode
Mark
200.
personally.
I didn't realise how bad it was. That's awful. Well done, Coops. I'm pleased you got that one actually.
Did you see the chat, Mark? They're like, Mark was robbed. Have
Mark
you
was
seen it?
Yeah. Justice for Mark.
The Joker, I'm going to play my Joker and give the award to Mark instead.
Fabian VM3s. As a native Spanish speaker, I cringe so hard. I love you,
Fabian's so right. We did such a terrible job.
So, and this is the Tell It to the Hand Award. Who did the best job of explaining that they don't care for an event?
Ooh.
The first nomination is Milo in episode 87.
We can jump in something we're probably all going to agree on, that this event is rubbish.
Oh, mems.
Clear cut.
Coops for also episode 87.
Ian, are
get-
you joking? Or are you winding us up? Are you decent?
Well, we'll
I
go
think,
through them and
I
then...
think he's consumed some more lol. That's what's happened.
No, seriously, because...
We've got Ian, who was also from episode 87.
Well, actually, Coops, I actually didn't film a Fashion Week vlog, so
I knew you were going to say that.
I remember that was jokes. That was
Oh,
I
it's-
was absent
it's
for that
cute.
episode because my one is from episode 31. For me, it's been great because like only maybe a couple of months ago, we were talking about addiction to the Pokemon Go and all that. They've helped me get off it. It's been very welcome. I mean, I literally use my free remote raid pass now each week in my box. And I've collected 3 of them now. I've stopped raiding, which is brilliant. I've stopped playing it, like you just said, Coops, during the day. I do what I need to do the research, and I'll put it down for a week. It's great. They finally helped a lot of people deal with their addiction. Well done, Niantic. The winner from episode 87 is Coops.
Again.
Yeah.
Are you joking? Or are you winding us
actually
up?
think-
Pretty decent.
Well, we'll go through them and
I
then...
think he's consumed some more lol. That's what's happened.
No, seriously, because...
See, Mark, I'm going to be honest. I think you should have won that again. I'm
should have,
going to level with you, bro. I think it should be 2-0.
Justice for Mark again's trending in the chat, so this is
Cancel
Cancel
Coops.
Cancel Coops.
We asked. That's the thing. We asked on these polls. Please listen to the episode, and clearly people didn't.
I feel like people just saw Coops and was like, click, click.
I think that was it.
It was probably him.
But yeah, up next we've got Faking It. Now this is going to be the host who did the best job of saying the next episode is not pre-recorded. And up first is Ian.
Yeah, we didn't record this 3 weeks ago.
If that doesn't win, I'm over it. The next up we got Milo.
You should know. You and Coops don't stop talking about Germany in a week's time.
Up next is me. You know, we said... No, sorry, I can't say that because it's coming out.
You know
It's
how
not
we
out
might
yet.
be saying that in a few weeks.
No. You knew I was going to... Okay, fine, we're leaving it in. So in a few weeks, we potentially might be asking...
I have a discussion.
Yeah, we might have a discussion about 2023. See, I feel like I should win that one. And then lastly, Marky Boy.
I'm looking forward to catching an O and E that can't be shiny, but when do they ever shine? Eh?
And the winner is... Oh, Milo, you won this one, mate. Well done.
I want something.
You should-
No, you and Coops don't stop talking about Germany in a week's time. It was quite in your face.
To be fair, yeah, dub, like that. I like
So
that.
moving on to our 4th award of the evening, and this is the Throwing the Dummy Out of the Pram award, and this is for the host that got triggered the easiest.
Oh, God.
I'm cringing. Have I got to listen back to myself? No, why have you done this to me, boys?
Nominated on Milo for episode 85. Your starting Pokemon is
Oh, no.
Wishy Washy.
What the fuck's that?
The Pokemon.
Wishy-washy. Show me the Pokemon that is. This is like a Generation 9 or something you pulled out of your ass.
Hang on.
Current generation. No, which one? Tell me. Because
Love this here. This is brilliant.
Wishy Washy is a Generation 7 Pokemon.
Oh, it is?
what the...
Okay.
All right, I'm remembering this in for the next game, okay?
Ian does the
Milo
poop at
was
the end. I love
not happy on that game. He really wasn't happy.
I was enraged.
Our second
Ian,
nomination
it's when you go,
is...
boop.
Yeah. is me back from episode 20 when we were talking about cyberbullying. Just taking the sort of Pokemon Go aspect aside, cyberbullying it's just not on in any way, shape or form, and I'm not gonna sit here and I know what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying, but I won't tolerate bullying in any fashion. It's not necessary in the world. Especially these people that are hiding behind a keyboard and just think they can say what they want to somebody just because they're pissed off about something.
That was before I edited.
That was before it was
Sound
edited. The third nomination is Our Boy the Casual. Back in the days when we were talking about what spoofing is.
But it's not you. It's not you. That's my point with spoofing is, and trust me, I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is that you're not logging on to the app which has got the toggle, right? And you can type in coordinates and move here, there, and everywhere. Is that what we're saying?
The final nomination in this category is Masterful27 from episode 52.
I think the Pikachu tipped me over the edge. I like the fact they got rid of 2-star raids, they got rid of 4-star raids. I genuinely looked at the 1-star ones and went, is it not worth just, if there's nothing good in them, you know, and there have been periods where there's nothing good in them, not even a Beldum in them, they just pause them for a bit so they don't pop up, because Magikarp, Pikachu. There was one window where all you were getting were Magikarps and Pikachus in 1-star raids, and even I'm there going, it just seems irrelevant. Not relevant, sorry, it just seems pointless. And if you didn't get the free raid pass a day, would you be raiding those 1-star raids?
There's passion behind that.
As if your nomination is a 1-star raid.
And the winner is, with his take on spoofing, Casual Coops.
It's not you. It's
Everyone
not you.
just vote for
That's
Coops.
my point with spoofing is, and trust me, I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is that you're not logging on to the app which has got the toggle, right? And you can type in coordinates and move here, there, and everywhere. Is that what we're saying? Fuming. I deserve that one.
Bless
That was
you.
good one, boys. All of them were
Quality.
very good.
So we're moving on to our 5th award, and this is the Invisible Man Award. And this award goes out to the host that's taken the most time away from the podcast. Now,
What's the
bear
point?
in mind,
What's the point?
bear in mind, this was out to the public vote, so you might not win this one,
Really?
Might.
Really?
but you did.
Okay, fine. L, is it that side? L.
I even got votes, and I've never taken a week off.
The Common Sense Prevails Award, the host that stated the most obvious thing in a soup of idiocy. So, the nominations are Ian talking about in-game tickets.
Nobody's holding a gun to anyone's head saying you have to buy the ticket. If you want it now, buy it. If you don't, wait. But you will get this Pokemon.
Great White Shark activate.
Absolutely. To the point.
We've got the casual.
Listen, we know how it works, right? They can't do it all at once because they need to bring it back again for a weekend, and again for a weekend as a shiny.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then again for a month as a shiny, and then again 8 months later with a Go Fest with a shiny and a new move. Come on, we know this.
Yeah,
We know this.
Myself, talking about the in-game boxes a few weeks ago. I think that this is a season-long test because these boxes have been found by people when they're doing APK mines and stuff. So we already knew that were like 27 new boxes coming or something for this season, which was where we got heads up from APAC saying, hey, this is the new box that's dropped for the 1st of September. It's crap.
Says it how it is, Smiley.
The final nomination is Mark talking about Liverpool.
And I'd just like to say before I play the soundbite, we don't all share this view.
But anyway, if everyone listens to us from Liverpool, I'm not slagging Liverpool off, right? I'm just getting that disclaimer out now. But Liverpool's not sort of one of those places top of my list to go and explore in the UK. I know there's a lot of history and culture there, but it isn't a place I choose to go and do a comm day in.
The winner of the Common Sense Prevails Award
Is it me again?
Coops.
Okay. Listen, we know how it works,
Coops.
right? They can't do it all at once because they need to bring it back again for a weekend, and again for a weekend as a shiny.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then again for a month as a shiny, and then again 8 months later with a Go Fest with a shiny and a new move. Come on, we know this.
Yeah,
We know this.
We all know how the game works.
I want to make a point, and this is gonna be the most backtracking award, and this will go to me, yours truly. Since I made that statement about Liverpool, it was an awful thing to say. I did go back to Liverpool, and I did play a Seal Spotlight Hour in Liverpool. I was doing it along by the Mersey, where the Beatles statues were, and I had a great time up there. And actually, I wish we could go back in time and remove that from the records. Liverpool is a fantastic place to go out in.
You heard it on episode
I'll
100.
say that. Yeah.
He's learned the error of his
I have.
ways.
Sorry, Croydon on the other hand. But anyway, moving on. Sorry.
Marky, do you know what my dad says to me before we move on to the next award? He always
Go on.
says, son, there's no point in having a mind if you can't change it. That's what he teaches me.
I like that. It's wholesome.
Well, that probably kind of leads into the next award since we're at the halfway point, which is the One Too Many Award. And this is for the person who gave the most inaccurate pub quiz answer.
It's me, innit?
God.
It's
Oh,
me.
Now, the nominations for this award are Milo, with his version of how many windows the Shard has.
the Shard in London has a lot of windows. How many windows has the Shard got?
I'm going to go 500.
Like it's made out of glass.
The biggest building in London.
At the moment the number exited my mouth, I was like, you're an idiot.
So Milo, since Mark's giving you shade, Mark's pub quiz answer was about the population of Berlin. In 2022, what is the population of Berlin?
11 million?
I don't
And
know
of
why
course-
I'm laughing.
And of course, who can forget Coops's answer when we was asking about the size of the New York Times Square ball?
How large is the Times Square New Year's Eve ball in diameter?
Yeah, 100
Diameters.
foot, 100.
Now, before I announce the winner, I just want to set something straight here. We're on episode 100. We've been giving Coops a lot of crap for a year about his answer. And we've always said that he said it was 100 metres. He actually said it was 100 foot, which is only 30 metres-ish, which was nowhere near as far out as Milo's answer.
I was going to say
about the
percentage-wise.
shard.
I am light years.
I think it was more my diameters, wasn't it?
No, that was later on. That was about the...
Was it?
Yeah.
That wasn't even the diameters one. So I took 2 L's. Okay, fine.
So, the winner of the One Too Many Award is, as voted by the Incensed podcast listeners, Casual Coops.
How large is the Times Square New Year's Eve ball in diameter?
You've been done in there, mate. Seriously.
100 foot, 100.
Maybe because people haven't listened
If
to
people
the
actually
New Year's
listened
show.
back, they would have seen that Milo's was way further out than yours.
Mine was so far wrong.
Yeah, and the population of Berlin is about 3.5 million, so I was still not as far as wrong as Milo was on the chart.
And
No, you
Trainer
wasn't that.
picked the same answer as you, actually, I think. You both went 11 million. But moving on to the next award. The best episode of Incensed in the first 99 shows. We picked our favourites on the Christmas show. We put them forward to Twitter. So the nominations are episode 46 from Masterful 27, which was the 2021 Xmas show. Episode 53, We Are 1 Year Old, as voted for by Ian Waterfall. Episode 69, Nice, with Count Ginsler on there, was Coops's. And finally, my pick, episode 76, Seattle Go Fest with Trainer Club and Tips. And the winner, as voted for by our listeners, is the longest show we have ever done. We're 1 year old.
Well deserved. That is
the 1 year show.
Yeah.
Slam dunk win.
GG's, guys. Thanks for voting on that one.
And for number 9, the best episode title of Incensed Award. Oh, I like this. And the nominations are Doing It Raw, hashtag Unscripted Chaos, Who's the Cutest Girl, and Got Begets Lads. The next one, Blowies. Okay, if this doesn't win, I'm vexed. But Blowies, Cyberbullying, and Bonus Withdrawals. The next, Lure Moduled, Worst Movie Ever, and the Incense Debate. And then the last one, Pokemon Master Holly, OnlyFans 5% Bigger, and Go Rocket Takeover. And of course, the winner is Blowies, Cyberbullying, and Bonus Withdrawals.
Yes. That Coops,
That was
I'm going to let you
amazing.
into a little secret here. We was actually thinking about calling these the Blowies, like the Oscars in terms of the awards, and you could say, and the Blowy goes to.
Why did you not? Don't tell me
Coops would
that
have a lot
now.
of them.
Don't tell me that now.
Well, no, if I told it earlier, would have been saying it the whole way through.
I'm just annoyed because that means I've only been hosting 2 Blowies. I could have hosted more.
Coops wants to make sure he's winning more blowies and having to give them out, so I see what you're doing there, Coops.
He wouldn't be complaining about winning, would he?
He wouldn't be. So we're going to go over to the 10th blowy award. Award for tonight. This is the best jingle award. So the nominations are Shinies of the Week,
Shinies of the week.
the news.
Is the news.
I'm so pleased you played that one. We love reversal. Third one, Chasing the Tail.
Chasing the tail, chasing the tail, tail to chase, it's chasing the tail.
That's got to win.
Got to win. Hashtag Chasing the Tail, already trending. And the final one we've got for tonight is Mark's/Milo's poll.
Bro, you can't even hear it. Also, can we just appreciate one thing, Ian, before you announce the winner of this? Like, when you deep it, the fact that these YouTubers come onto our show and I, after the recording, force them to record jingles for us
Yeah,
is actually hilarious. I'm like,
You're not leaving.
I'm like, okay, so Zoe, can you just do that again? But I need it more shy. Like, literally,
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
did with Zoe with the Shinies of the Week, yeah.
yeah. I'm like, Zoe, can we just do it one more time? But I need it more like shy. And she's like, Coops, what the hell is going on?
Something that the listeners probably don't realise is how much of a control freak you are when it comes to these jingles.
Yes.
Yep.
The winner is Chasing the Tail.
Chasing the tail, chasing the tail, tail to chase, it's chasing the tail.
Fully deserves.
Fully Fully.
Yeah, like I agree with that vote.
Talking about getting to know you earlier, this one's going to be the best getting to know you question award. The nominations are: if you could make anything 5% bigger, what would you do? If there was an annual cosplay at work, what would you dress up as? If you were to change your voice, what accent would you pick? I like that one. And what celebrity would you like to meet in Starbucks for a blowy? No, sorry, for a cup of coffee. Oh my God, was that for a cup of coffee?
We had to put that one in. That was one of the early ones, yeah.
That was
yeah.
the start of it.
But boys, the winner is actually 5% bigger, which is actually funny. I like that one. I like that.
Thank you, Internet.
Thank you.
We've got the final one here. The Best Show Intro Award. So the nominations are Milo for episode 98.
On Christmas Day, Coops jingles his bells. Mark gets his Christmas Yule log up. Ian eggs on his nog. And I am filled with many, many Christmas spirits.
Number 2 is myself on episode 37. Tonight on episode 37, I wish I'd kick Snorlax's ball into Sefton Park's lake. Casual Coops strokes his Eevee ears. Milo has finally been separated from Billy's ring of Giratina. And Ian Waterfall celebrates his Shundo in silence again. Next one is Coops with episode 43.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Incensed, a Pokemon GO podcast. Tonight, we're as old as Ian. It's episode 43. I'm Coops, and with me, I have the guy who's wetter than an otter's dam right now, is Pogo Milo UK. The guy who'd have 4 kids if it wasn't for John Hankey, it's Ian Waterfall, and Masterful27, aka the Mega Connoisseur. Yo, I used to be funny, you know. Is that actually yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you actually had some talent.
That's what 2 years will do to you, Coops.
Oh, bro, I think I should win that one. I can't believe I said you're as old as you, Ian. That was jokes.
Yeah, but you've been running that joke since then.
yeah, true.
That joke has got old.
And finally, we've got Ian with episode 66.
On today's show, just how do you pronounce Seville?
Seville.
Seville.
We talk. What is Safari Zone?
Coop can't tell the difference.
And an old friend stops by for a chat.
I'm back.
Welcome back to Incensed Podcast.
That was nice. That was different.
I like the little Seville. Nice little montage there.
That's a different one, yes.
The winner is... It's a tie.
Oh, what?
Between episode 98, which was Milo, and episode 66, which is Ian's. Congratulations, boys.
No way.
I was robbed.
You're both gonna.
I was robbed.
You're both going to receive a blowy for your rewards.
Hey, woo.
Does that mean we have to give each other a blowy?
Top of tail at you.
Oh, for first time. Oh.
Again, as voted by the
As
public.
voted for by the public. We had no input in this at all.
Can I just say, that whole award ceremony idea was actually Ian and Milo. Lovely idea. Got to give you a round of applause. Fantastic idea.
It's not going to happen again for about another 100 episodes based on the amount of work we had to put into it, but thank you.
And listen, speaking of work, I think it's about time Ian and Milo, you know, a bit like those award ceremonies, you guys do so much for the podcast. Over to you guys to talk to us about the production processes and editing.
Well, I think we should share this one, Milo. I know we said I'd lead it. I think we should share this one because Milo and I do kind of take a production stance on this show. We take a little bit of a lead in terms of a few production bits, including the edit, which is what you guys are listening to now.
If you're not on the actual public live stream.
So it will be, I wouldn't say a totally different show, but it will be a lot more streamlined. All of the rubbish will have been cut out. Some of the sidebars and tangents will have been taken out. And the edit essentially is a very, very important part of this podcast. After we've recorded every show, our studio Riverside will record locally each of the hosts' tracks. They're uncompressed so that when we download them, we get a high quality recording, unlike the Zoom days, which was compressed and had all of the online glitches and was terrible.
Zoom was crap.
So we get an individual high quality track from each of the presenters. What we'll then do is we will download that, and our editing program of choice, we use Adobe Premiere Pro, and either Milo or I will then pop all of those waveforms into the studio.
And colour code them.
Mark and Coops will have seen on today's show notes, we've actually colour-coded them in your colours a little bit behind the scenes. If you've ever seen our behind-the-scenes photos on Insta or Twitter, Mark is always purple because his colour scheme is purple based on his love of Gengar.
The Gengar hat,
Coops is orange because he's ginger.
obviously.
I'm blue because I'm Waterfall. And Milo is green because he loves Trico.
Because of the bar lights I've got.
Trico.
Okay, fine, we'll
Chico.
go with that.
Once we've dropped everything into Premiere, that's when mostly Milo's day begins on a Friday morning.
Yes, and as the weeks have gone on, obviously Zoom gave you... it was a not so good quality recording because we had to deal with internet dropouts and it would happen reasonably frequently. So you get to the point where you're like, okay, most of my time editing the first 18 or 19 shows were trying to make sure that you couldn't tell that it was recorded on Zoom with a bad connection. So that's why maybe those shows were not so polished. As we heard from some of the sound bites in the award ceremony, there was a lot of repeated words in
In the early shows.
spoofing chat where Coops lost his mind a little bit. Since using Riverside, where you can get a proper locally recorded, that's the key thing, it's locally recorded on each person's computer and uploaded directly, so there's no cutout. My time will be spent making sure that any dead space, for example, you probably hear there's a little computer hum on my end from my PC's fan whirring away. If there's dead space where someone breathes, genuinely if they breathe, that will be cut out. I'll go through it with a very fine tooth comb. I'll do one pass, and that pass, if it's a easier episode where there's not much news or anything like that, can take 6, 7, 8 hours. The longer episodes can sometimes take north of 16 hours to edit, and that's 16 hours of only ever getting up to use the bog or get a cup of coffee. That is literally it. So I will put an entire Friday into these edits to make them as smooth and polished as possible.
Send him raids.
Yeah, and raids while I'm editing. It's very true. And I don't know whether Ian does sort of the same thing, but as we're recording, kind of keep a mental note in the background of like, okay, that conversation's gone off on a bit of tangent. We can pull that together and make it tighter. This can go here. Even as far as sometimes I genuinely restructure some sentences in some way so that it grammatically flows better. It really is a case of polishing the raw material that we get. And sometimes the recordings on average are about 2 hours and we polish them down to roughly an hour and 10 minutes. Pretty neat, consistent stuff. And bless Ian, whenever I send over the project, his iMac cries to death because you end up with a project where there's 5 proper audio tracks plus all the sound effects and stuff we add in. If we have a guest on, there's just more material. You'll end up with a sequence north of 3, 4, possibly 5,000 cuts individually in it, all with a little transitional fade of 2 frames just to make sure that the word flows better into the breath of someone talking. And anything that doesn't quite sync up, like the jokes, can be a bit more condensed, brought together so they punch at the right timing. Same with jingles, etc. Genuinely, there's a lot that goes into that edit of just making sure it is the best thing I can do. And then I'll send it over to Ian once I've poured my heart and soul into that, and he'll usually polish. To be honest, actually, I get to like the last sort of 10 minutes of the show.
Normally the last 10-15 minutes, and you can tell that you've just died inside.
I've wilted to death. I mean, we've talked about it, the 1 year show, which you guys voted for as the best show of the previous 99 that we've done before this. That was 26 hours editing, and that was genuinely 26 hours no sleep. Full on, because I think there was a sodding com day that weekend as well.
I think there was on
at that time.
Sunday, I think, yeah.
I think it was a Sunday com day, so we had 2 days to smash out that edit and took, 8 hours of recording and brought it into 2 hours 20. But Ian, do thank you for the polishes, because you do pick up on quite a few things that I leave in sometimes.
Yeah, so the edits normally come through to me. If I'm lucky on a Friday evening, if I'm unlucky, Saturday lunchtime, and it generally does kind of hit me when there's an event on. But that's the same with Milo, especially if we have Saturday community days. They are a killer because we insist on putting this podcast out at exactly the same time every Sunday. So the edit has to be done. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. You know, to quote NASA, failure is not an option. The podcast has to be released at the same time.
It's with that dedicated.
So, yes, and that comes down to my OCD, but that's another story. So I'll get the podcast in a project file from Adobe Premiere, and Milo isn't lying when he says it kills my Mac. I have an M1 Mac. The project file is tiny, but then when you integrate all of the individual waveforms that we've recorded and the cuts,
as well.
The project file is normally in excess of 50 gig. Even with a new Mac, it struggles. We get there.
Well, yeah.
It struggles.
Mine does time out as
Yeah,
well. Mine goes, you've used 130 gig of your access memory or whatever it is, and I haven't even got halfway through the show.
Absolutely. And then maybe if we get like 1 million Patreons, then we can afford a Mac Studio. But at the moment, we can't. we do what we can. The polish is pretty much what it says on the tin. So I will literally go through the podcast as a listener, stopping whenever I need to cut out a breath. So it's basically another edit.
That
so
I've left in.
Yeah, we say it's a polish. Essentially, it's a second pass through the edit, taking out anything that Milo may have missed, or if he's died inside, just left in by mistake. I also tied up any extra long gaps that again might have been missed on the first pass, add in any sound bites or audio tracks for games that are not normally put in on the first pass, and just tightening it up.
When the soundboard dies, for example.
Little bit of BTS. As I mentioned, I have a little bit of OCD, so the polish will always end. It has to be on an exact second. I will not leave random frames in there, so I will make sure it ends with a 0-0. I have to do it.
You can't have spare frames.
Exactly. And that's pretty much it in a very, very small nutshell. It is literally 2 thorough passes and genuinely a polish for a normal 1 hour and 5-10 minute episode will take between 3 and 4 hours. So that's another amount of effort and energy.
We say down the pub, and like down the pub conversation can move pretty quick and fast, and we want that smooth, seamless but fast-paced show. Since moving to Riverside and getting the proper raw files and everything and being able to put more time into it, it's great fun. I love editing it, and I wouldn't
say the edit's the best part, but I think the edit really does bring it together. As you guys, anyone that's been on the live stream or a part of our Patreon has seen a live show, we go off on so many tangents, we stop, we have little production meetings, the edit just cuts all of that out and just gives you a very, very beautiful, shiny little show that hopefully is an hour of escapism once a week.
Absolutely. But when it comes to doing the extra little bits that actually gets it into your feed, that's over to Ian.
Yes,
Ian does the uploads and all of the SEO and everything.
So once we've got a completed episode, we'll export that as a WAV file. Once we've got the WAV file, we then upload that. Our host for our podcast hosting, because to get the podcast to you, so we don't just give it to Apple or Spotify, we actually have a host which then creates an RSS feed which will then pipe it down through to your phones or any search engines so you can find the show. Coop seems to be dying for some reason. I'm not sure what I've done to
I think there's some chat.
I'm so sorry. Like, the chat on the live stream, I'm so sorry. I can't.
So that'll be cut out anyway in the edit. And unlike some podcasts, when we say we're going to edit something out, 99% of the time we actually do as well. So if we say we're taking something out, we generally do.
No, but it's funny you say that, bro, because if it's all right, boys, I just want to quickly just add on as well. Now I'm done laughing at the chat. It was Del Hazard, and he said, do you ever have any post-podcast recordings, like to redo lines, sections, for example? And I thought that was a really cool thing to add in.
Good question. Yeah.
You're bang on, mate. That is exactly what happens. I think when Milo's got all of the, if you don't mind me, boys, taking this one, once we've sent the files to Milo, he's contacted me and Mark before, because our Wi-Fi's played up. So there's times where we have to actually repeat our lines. So we'll go onto the recording the next day or on Saturday. Milo will be like, right, Coops, I need you to say these 2 lines. So you have to like get into the mood, get into the character and do the lines how you would say them, so Milo can put those lines.
It's proper ADR.
Yeah, that are actually recorded 48 hours after the recording, but he then adds them in. There'll be like laughs that we do that kind of get like, it's a really amazing process, considering, and you guys on the live stream have seen a process of it, but it's a really cool thing, and like it's very rare. It's a very rare these days,
and it does happen more often than not, more often than you realise.
That's what I'm saying. It's very rare now that we actually do an hour and a half recording, and that's the show. It's normally someone has to jump on. I mean, am I allowed to say about last week, boys, while we're on the topic?
I wanted to talk about the sectional shows, actually. Yeah.
So, for example, last week for episode 99, our New Year's show, for the news, the boys recorded that on a separate day, and obviously that was the day that I couldn't attend because I was working. So that's why I then jumped on the next day with a recording with Milo, and we thought of that hoot hoot joke, and I said that I'm going to pretend that I was going off to catch the hoot hoot. Yeah. And then I did the out of breath like I'd come back, but I wasn't actually. That was all me and Milo, just us. It was just the boys. So then they added me in and made it out to be like a story, even though it wasn't a story. So I thought
And the funny thing with that, there was a little in joke. If any of our listeners have noticed that you hate costume Pokemon, so the fact that you went out to hunt
then you go
costume
chasing
Pokemon,
costume Shiny,
and it's all. And we had that joke with Hoot Hoot at like about 10-15 episodes. We like to kind of link everything in, but it's like when even me when I listened back last week, it was like it was live, and I was in the room, and I was like, no way, like I actually wasn't there, but the way we put the storyboard together and the way that the boys edit it and put it all together, it really is incredible. Like seriously, it is incredible.
We work around what we need to.
Yeah.
It was much like when we did the Shiners of the Week for episode 99, Coops recorded his separately, but then obviously we stitched it in between Mark, myself, and Ian did ours on a different recording. So it's more obvious. We had the award for who made it most obvious that we're pre-recording shows. It will slip up like that when we're doing a sectional recording for an episode, for example, if it's Christmas. I was
like the Christmas show when Mark said, "Have you caught Cub Chew?" And Coop says, "I'll leave that in if it's not part of the event." We left it in anyway.
Yes, and then you asked him, "Have you got your shiny jelly birds
and
yet?"
he said yes, but at that point he hadn't got it because we'd recorded that in September.
In late September we recorded that bit of the show.
That was it, yeah.
Just dying, the chat saying, my whole life is a lie. But no, if you want to produce amazing content, and it's the same as any YouTube video, it's not going to be all what it seems. There's going to be so much work and content, right? Hashtag content for content. So, so hopefully we've not spoilt the magic. I just really want to let everybody know how much effort going into this, to making this the show exactly how we want it, from the minute it starts to the minute it ends. I know we hope that you appreciate that and we don't ruin the magic.
We hope we haven't, because the key thing about good editing is you can't tell it's there.
Yes,
and that's something we pride ourselves on.
Total honesty here. We've actually done, I would say, probably about 9 or 10 sectional shows over the last couple of years for different events and seasonal holidays.
1 or 2 of us are sort of away.
Yeah.
Key example with that is the Berlin Go Fest weekend. We actually rescheduled that recording to be a day earlier so we could get all 4 of us before Mark jetted off to Germany. But the Seattle show with Trainer Club and Trainer Tips, that was a sectional show.
Over 5 weeks.
Yeah, over 5 weeks, and that's how we got Nick to record extra stuff when he was on for his guest show afterwards. So that's where it's sort of like, I've turned up to do the pub quiz again, because it was exactly the same day. But there's a lot of preparation and planning that goes behind the sectional shows. But I've said, like, the Christmas shows are amongst my favourite, and the Seattle show is quality.
I love those shows the most because for us recording them, genuinely forget the bits that we've recorded when they all get sewn together. It is one of the most anticipated shows. The Christmas one is, for me, probably the most anticipated one. Is a really great idea. But like the things I love is like Coops hit the nail on the head. Is like when he plays it back and he goes, "Well, actually, I wasn't there." Like I listened to episode 99 and I knew Coops wasn't there, and I listened to it and I went, hold on here, I love what you boys have done, because I listened out for
it was good, hey? Yeah.
And I even like the bit where you speak, but it almost sounds like you boys have played an audio clip of me laughing, so it sounds like I'm there with Coops as well.
We
feed
do that a lot.
The bit, and I'm there going,
And
I look at it and I hear that and I'm going,
audio.
Yeah, we've got clips of, we're building a library of bits where we can just put little laughs in here or there, because sometimes it needs it. Sometimes something's funny, but it doesn't quite come across in the same way, so you need a little bit of a laugh, kind of like they do on TV, just to kind of give the audience that sort of feeling.
We just try and make it as good as it possibly can be.
Once we've done that, we've edited it, we've published it, then we kind of have to go into kind of a social media mode, which I'll be honest, I'm really bad at. But we have Mr. Twitter himself.
Mr. Twitter and Mr. Game.
So I am Mr. Twitter. Well, I say I'm Mr. Twitter. And...
Sorry. This live chat, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're leaving the live stream up on public, so anybody can go back and watch this.
Social media has been something that we've kind of dipped in and dipped out with on our journey, and Milo and Ian are really good with the Insta, like the Insta stories and that, but I am a Twitter nutter. I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter for 11, 12 years. I've always used it for me personally, and we've seen it grow. It's been really, really good, and I think the sort of traction that it's given us has been really noticeable. We joked a bit about having a YouTube channel, but the YouTube channel was always an interesting one because we're a podcast. We've always been sort of, you look through Spotify, Apple, etc. But we do have listeners that watch us on YouTube, which is why we've kept the YouTube.
We kind of need to upload the last 8 episodes to YouTube.
Oh, sugar, yeah. And then going on to our favourite one, we do joke about TikTok. We did make sort of a presence on TikTok.
I think we did 5 shorts, didn't we?
Limited.
We did 5 shorts. They are some very iconic moments, but they take a long time. Breaking news on tonight's live podcast, episode 100. You won't be seeing anything else on our TikTok.
We've got one more short that we're going to release this weekend.
We've got one lined up that's been literally waiting for like 6 months. But Mr. Twitter, Mark's poll has become an integral part of the podcast, and that was you a long time ago brought out the suggestion of putting it out to the listeners for a question.
Yeah, because you used to do it quite subversively, didn't you? And then at the end you'd say, "Oh, I've done a poll."
That was it.
And
And then Coop's turned it into something that just dodgy, as he always does.
Actually,
That's
that
awesome.
jingle, we repurposed it because that was originally one of the jingles for a different game. Everyone said it sounds too Pornhubby, so then we repurposed it for Mark's poll.
Does it play your decks right?
I think it might have been, actually. Yeah.
And I love it when Milo takes responsibility
Very badly.
very badly. But boys, I've got some good news.
What?
We've had a poll out tonight on
Oh
the
my
live
God.
show. Have you joined us on our YouTube live stream for our 100th episode tonight? Basically, 54 people voted on Twitter whilst we were recording our live show tonight. 78% of people who voted have been watching our live stream tonight. Thank you so much.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So the 22% of people that haven't been on the live stream tonight, you'll hear it on Sunday. But no, thank you so much. That's really cool. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you all so much for joining. And I want to apologise. I've just been laughing. Like, you lot have been like, actually, I've not laughed like this in ages. So I really, really, really appreciate you. We are coming towards the end of the show. I just wanted to just do a few massive shout outs to some sections of the show which we used to do, Ask the Intern, which are no longer really a part of the show.
That was an integral part early on.
It was.
It was. And it had
And
to be.
we ran out of funny ones quite early.
Sometimes we even use ones that weren't really funny, but we had to use the content. We've obviously got letters to the hosts. Please, if you're listening and you do want to reach out to us about anything, please do, because I really, really do like letters to the hosts, and I actually like how rarely we do it. It's very, very, very sweet. And of course, WhatsApp messages, which is new. We're going to explain our number and everything at the end of the show. Like what we've said before, I think, in the last few weeks, we really want to get interactions with our audience.
And boys, good news.
What?
We actually have.
Send your WhatsApps now.
What would our 100th episode
love
be
that
without a
jingle.
couple of WhatsApp messages specifically for the 100th episode? So, the first message is from somebody that has really supported us from day one. Our very own HermesNinja.
Hello, lads. HermesNinja here, calling in to congratulate you on 100 episodes. You know, I've been a fan since day one, and a friend since about episode 8, when, as your first patron, I started sitting in on your recordings. If I recall correctly, episode 8 was your second episode with a guest, and your first with JT Valor. It was a cracking episode. My cheeks hurt at the end of that recording. So I think episode 8 will always be my favorite and have a place in my heart. But since then, I was able to travel with you to Safari Zone in Seville, to GoFest in Seattle, and I even flew to London to attend Litwick Community Day with you guys. And throughout all that travel and the sunburn and the blisters and the meals and the laughs and the drinks and the drinks and the
Lots of
drinks, I've become an even bigger fan and an even closer friend. I couldn't be more proud of the four of you and absolutely everything that you've accomplished in only 100 episodes. So you'll continue to have my wholehearted support, and I cannot wait to see what the universe has in store for you next. As I always tell you, the sky's the limit. Lots of love.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so much,
Sue.
Sue.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it means a lot. Thank you. Thank you
Sue.
for the kind words.
It really was episode 8, actually.
No, Sue, for real, thank you. That was very good. I got a bit teary then. That was very sweet. Thank you.
I
Very,
appreciate
very-
Well,
that,
Coops,
thank you.
you're definitely going to get teary at the next one.
Oh no,
Because-
what is it?
It's Pokédaxy.
Pen pal Simon's been back on.
Oh.
Yo, this is Pen Pal Simon here. I just want to take the time to congratulate the four of you on hitting the landmark number of 100 episodes of the Incense podcast. A momentous occasion, chaps. The endorphins that my brain releases every Sunday when I see you've got a new episode up are quite amazing. Thank you all so much for the hard work you do, and I shall look forward to the next 100 episodes. If I had any friends in real life, I'd imagine it would be something like listening to the four of you talk. It's lovely.
Thanks,
thanks,
Simon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you for sending that in, dude.
I love how Simon put in there the amazing. I love
Yeah.
that reference. That was beautiful, Simon. Thank you.
And you know, we do want more of you to send us your WhatsApp messages, voice messages, please, because we love hearing your voices. So please send us a WhatsApp voice message. The reason we do that is it's free. You don't need to call us and pay international rates. +44 07592 695696, and that phone number is in the description of every episode.
The +44 is the 0. Don't do +44.
Yeah, ignore the
then
0 if you're calling internationally. Yeah.
And yeah, my favourite segment. Let's wrap up the show. It's now time for
Shinies of the week.
I'll kick off the proceedings of, yes, what is our favourite section, which actually Mark suggested we do on episode 3, throwing it right back. But Invader Waffle at Incensed Podcast got a shiny Reshiram from a raid right after my gotcha, go plus, caught a Hundo Tyrant when I was listening to your New Year's episode. Hashtag Shinies of the Week, and it's a lovely golden collared Reshiram and a Hundo dinosaur. Nice, dude.
Nice.
And I'll jump in next. Stewie16H, I think I've actually seen him in the live stream, has sent us a Shinies of the Week and Hundos of the Week through our campfire just before New Year's. Hashtag Hundos of the Week, Merry New Year, Hundo Hatted Hoot Hoot, and hashtag Shinies of the Week, Pika Pika 0-star hatted Pikachu. Yeah,
nice shiny costume.
So my one here is from Herbie at Pogo Herb at Incense Podcast. I managed to grab myself a shiny Hoot Hoot with the hat. I did say I would mention it, didn't I, last week? So it seems the perfect opportunity. Hashtag Shinies of the Week, hashtag Pokemon Go, hashtag Hoot Hoot, hashtag W, because he got the dub. So congratulations, my friend.
Jeez.
Thanks for joining us on the live stream as well.
We like that. And then we've got one here from Apex171. It's only the second day of the year and the shiny gods are treating me good. Hashtag Shinies of the Week. They have treated you very well because you have hatched one of those lovely 12-kilometre eggs, a shiny Pawniard, which is very nice.
Nice. It's a bit sad, boys. It's the end.
It is. It's actually the end of the show, but we always end it with our favourite section, so we absolutely love it when you do get involved. Thank you, everybody who has hashtag Shinies of the Week in the last 100 episodes, actually 97 episodes technically, because it was episode 3 when it actually arrived on the scene. But you can tag us at Incensed Podcast or use the email incensedpodcast@yahoo.com. And we've got a link tree. It's all in the description of the podcast. Definitely drop us a follow on our socials, and if you did enjoy this week's show, please do hit the follow plus or whatever the button is to get us downloaded straight to your device and throw us a 5-star review. We would be eternally grateful. You might end Coops' internal turmoil of sitting at 4.9.
You know what? That's never going to happen because as soon as we get to 5, somebody's just going to just.
It's annoying. We got to like 204, 203
and
votes,
5,
and we were on 5-star.
Oh, and we've dropped that down. Damn. And as we say every week, we've mentioned them throughout the show. Thank you very much indeed to everybody who is on our Patreon. And since this was a public live stream out there, episode 100, thank you for joining us, everybody who did jump in the live stream. Our gold tier patrons can join our live recording every week. Join our Patreon. It is linked in the description below and also on our link tree. But we do have tiers starting from £1.50 that gets you into our community Discord, which is chocked full with fantastic people. But a special shout out to our gold tier members who are HermesNinja, JB, CliffordMert, DerbyRuss, Kerry and Zachary, Connolly, Dom the Ragnarok, ML Fault 2022, Apex 187 and Professor 58. Thank you very much to those gold tier members and everybody who's on the silver and the bronze tier, because without your extra support we wouldn't be able to make this podcast sound as good as it does. As you've heard from this episode 100, a lot goes into it, so we can't thank you all enough. There's a lot of effort to make it sound smooth.
Yes.
But we've got a little birthday shout out. Kerry and Zachary, one of our patrons, going to give a little birthday shout out to one of our smallest fans, Benji, or was 5 on Friday this week.
A couple of days ago.
And Ali is 2 on the actual Sunday release. So happy birthday to Benji and Ali. But good news.
What?
As if episode 100 of the Incensed podcast wasn't enough, we actually have to give a bit of a shout out to the Way Spotters.
Jamal and Lachlan.
Yep. I was going to go the other way around, put my boyfriend first. Lachlan and Jamal, January the 8th, they are celebrating their 1-year anniversary show. And if you can't get enough Incensed podcast, we might be making a feature on there.
Slightly savage.
Brazen, I think. They're having a stellar 1-year show. They've got Ken and Adam on from The Lured Up and a Special Conditions podcast, so give them a listen as well.
There's a 10-minute roast from Mark, Milo and myself, and we might just lay into them a little bit.
Yeah, it's worth howling with laughter at, trust me. But episode 100 for us, episode
52 for them.
Technically, they said 52,
minus
but it's
bonus
53.
episodes and
We'll let them try and clarify what on earth they're doing. But anyway, on that bombshell, it is definitely time to end. And we'll see you next week for episode 101.
I choose you!